how to move forwards when you don't know what it is that you actually want. It can be one of the hardest places to be in life when either things have been going really well and then all of a sudden you're not enjoying your art anymore, or you're not enjoying what you create, or your things aren't working like they used to anymore, and it's kind of like forcing this change. Or you just feel like you want to do something different, but you just don't have a clue what it is. And so then you're sitting sometimes in this period of uncertainty, of limbo. And it's hard, especially if you are already an established artist, or you have an established life, let's say, where your day is taken up with family, with work, with stuff. It leaves very little room for you to then plant seeds of new ideas when you're caught up in that fullness of life. And so I've been going through this recently. I wanted to come in and share a process that I've been using to work through this time. And I know that a lot of people are going through it right now because we're going through a lot of change. So as creatives, I keep saying this, but as creatives, when there's change happening in the world, we will pick up on it because we are creative beings. We're very aware of what's happening around us. We're taking in information, we're taking in what we see and feel from the world. And so when there are big changes in the world, we pick that up. So the first thing for me, I guess, is identifying it first of all. So I started to identify a couple of years ago that things were changing. I could sense things were changing. And I do remember saying to somebody, I feel like I've got into a bit of a cycle of doing what I know over and over, which for me at that point was running United Art Space. We do these big, huge events every year where we sometimes have 10,000 people coming to our events. And they would run for a couple of weeks, sometimes, these big events. And over time, we would notice the pattern of people paying attention dropping, people signing up and not attending dropping. And there was a shift in the energy too of those events. And I love running those events. I love it. So I wouldn't let them go. So if I was like a savvy business owner 2 years ago, I would have changed the dial and gone into a different direction then. But because I absolutely loved running those events, I would not let them go. But I do remember talking to my mentor a couple of years ago, maybe even 3 years ago now, and he's saying that if you don't change, you're going to hit a wall at some point. And that wall, then I hit the wall last year. So what then happened was things in the online world changing. Definitely in the way people consume. 2-week events just do not work. And also, though, I was changing. So I've been in this world for 10 years. It was coming up to my 10th anniversary. So the end of last year, I was starting to question everything, to look at how I'd spent the last 10 years, to really start to think, how do I want to spend the next 10 years? And for me, I knew that change was imminent. I knew that I didn't want to spend the next 10 years exactly how I'd spent the previous. And that was really hard to admit and say out loud, because I had been on this cycle of, every year we launch in January, we launch in spring, we do an event in September, and I know the events inside out. I know how to run them. I just know how it works. And so ultimately what I was saying there is we're going to kind of turn all that on its head. So what does that mean? I don't know. So then there was this period of time where I just thought, I don't know what this means now. I don't know what I do moving forwards. I don't know what events to run. Do I? And I was questioning everything. And I was sat in uncertainty, like, do I stop doing my 7 Keys course? Do I stop doing this? Do I stop these events completely? Wow, I don't know what to do. So I then decided to sit down and look at everything that I love doing. This was such a great exercise of getting back to what is it that I am really good at, and what is it that I absolutely love doing. And I also looked at what is it I don't want to do anymore, and what do I want to put on the shelf. So this is what we do inside our creative living platform. We decide through our art, through our life, what are we going to delve and shelve? This is what we call it. What are we going to put on the shelf, and what are we going to delve and bring forwards? So for me, this was wonderful because I spent a lot of time looking back at my work over the last 10 years and thinking, what bits do I absolutely love? And then that question as well, what am I good at? That was a really good one to ask. What am I really good at? Because that actually gave me so much insight into, I'm really good at helping artists grow confidence in themselves. I am really good at helping artists really understand why their art matters. To understand that basically so that they can start to grow confidence in their work, in themselves, how to develop their art, how to connect that art to people in a world that's busy, in a world where people want human connection more than anything. I am really good at helping artists with that. Really good at helping them pull out their stories to help them identify how their art relates to other people and how to do that. Like, they're the bits I'm really good at. And then I started to kind of really, like, that started to light me up when I started to realize the parts of my creativity that I'm really good at. I started to feel that excitement brewing again of then what I want to stand for, what I want to become known for, what I want to talk about. And I realized that I love talking. I don't like, I was going to say I don't like writing, but I do like writing, but in a creative way, not in a sales way. So I like talking about things if I'm going to sell them. And this information started to guide me. So I would like to create a platform where I write, and that's about creativity, and I'll merge that with art. So this is where I started to come up with ideas then. So I started to come up with tangible ideas of what I would like to create. And I want to create art from my visualizations, write about them, draw about them. So when I knew that, it was like, what's the right platform for that? Substack, after a bit of research, I realised is a good platform for that. So that's where my art will go. And then when I was looking at United Art Space, I realised that this is where my passion is. Okay, so I'm now building this platform, Creative Living, which already exists. I'm going to redo my 7 Keys course because that is a big part of what I've just been talking about in terms of what I love. I love my 7 Keys course inside out. It's where everything began. That course is evergreen. That course was written 9 years ago and is more relevant today than it ever has been. That course will still be relevant in 10 years from now. That's the kind of content I want to be talking about. I don't want to teach anything that expires in a week's time. Like, I'm not interested in that. I want to talk about the real stuff, the stuff that actually matters. And to me, that's inside the creative way that I've just written, and the 7 Keys, which is all about how we find our voice, how we find our people. And that now I'm starting to feel the joy in what I'm creating, in what I'm doing. And I'm starting to see a vision again for where I'm going. Now, before I could see this vision, the other thing that I started to do, because when things are not working, when things don't feel right, it can start to impact our confidence. It can start to make us focus on scarcity, fear, things are not going well. Then what can happen is we start to make decisions from those places of fear, scarcity, and things not going well, which tend to not be the right decisions. So before I could come up with my new vision, what I had to do, because things were starting to feel quite heavy, quite stressful, is I started to focus on joy. And it was a daily practice, multiple times a day, where I focus on joy. And that is in the simple things. Going for a walk every day. After a few hours on the screen, I would go for a walk. I would sit on a bench. I'll visualize success. I will visualize things going well. I will go and look at the ducks and the water and the clouds and the trees, and that brings me joy. Whatever brings you joy might be different. And I started to focus on joy, having conversations with people, and I started to journal on what brings me joy and happiness and being grateful. And those, I really do think, helped me kind of raise my vibrational energy, so that I started to feel better. I started to feel more optimistic. I started to feel like I'm in the space of now being able to see the opportunities and see what I actually enjoy. Whereas when you're in the stress of it, it's very difficult to do that. So that was the thing I did to lift me out of that, so I could start to go, yes, this is what I'm good at. Yes, this is what I love. And I also started to come up with things that weren't tangible, that I didn't really understand. Things like, I really want to be in person more. So I've spent 10 years on a screen, and I want to be in person a lot more. What does that look like? I have no idea. And I remember just saying that out loud more and more. I would like to be in person. I also want to give back, so there were some phrases that just didn't really make any sense, but I just kept saying them out loud, and I kept journaling on them. I'd like to be in person more. I'd like to do more things with people. And I just kept saying that to people, and I would journal it. And what then happened was, things started to come to me that related to being in person. And I wasn't even necessarily actively seeking it, although I was, in the sense of I was focusing on it. So we have a theme around here with the pineapple. If you focus on a pineapple over and over and over again for a month, you'll start to see pineapples everywhere, because your brain now is tuned in to seeing pineapples. And the pineapples have always been there. So what I'm doing by saying over and over and over again, I'd like to work with people, I'd like to work with people. I talk about it on podcast, on lives with my family. I write it down. What then happens is I start to see opportunities. Opportunities start to come to me that relate to speaking, being around people. It's like magic. Only it's not magic, it's the way the world works. And what then happened was, I got chatting to someone who runs these charity events once a month in our local area for the disadvantaged people in the local community, the elderly, the homeless, people that have been in abusive relationships, different walks of people, but all who need help. And my children and I now go and volunteer at that. And it's the most incredible, incredible thing. I absolutely love it, to give back, to help people, to be there, to be that smiley face for someone that needs that, to go and make a cup of tea for someone. And that has given me immense joy and put things into perspective for me. And then also, I was in a conversation with somebody that I know from years ago. The conversation evolved into, would you like to come and start working with us and start to run some of our in-person seminars? And I was like, what would it be on? And they went, confidence. Now, for this one, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do it. And as I started to look into it more, I thought, yeah, this is in alignment with what I love. So having done that exercise, what is it I love? What is it I'm good at? What do I want to be talking about? Because I'd done that exercise, when the opportunity came to me, It was a hard yes, because everything was in alignment with what I'd just written down. It's like they're helping people with confidence, they're helping people with their self belief. This is something that I love doing. Now, here's the interesting thing, too, that it seemed very unrelated to everything that I already do. So that was my reservation. I was like, oh, this is stepping out of a area I know nothing about. And that in itself is great for me because it's helping me grow as a person. It's pushing me out of my comfort zone, which is what I need right now. So I've started to do some trial training with them at their seminars. I am absolutely loving it. I'm about 2 months in, but here's the interesting thing. I didn't relate it to United Art Space at all. I felt like it was like something completely separate. But as I've started to attend them, what's happened is, from being in that room, it's starting to help me with my confidence. I'm now learning something that actually is going to help me in United Art Space, because I'm in the room with people like TEDx speakers, with high performance coaches. Like, I am now in the room with people who are extraordinary, and I am learning from those people. And now I realize this is going to take me, myself personally, to the next level. And I realize now how much that is going to influence the way I show up in United Art Space, the conversations that I have, the way we're going to be moving forwards in United Art Space. And it's not only that, but it's also helping me to see clearly what I want to do in United Art Space. So this is a strange one. By taking an opportunity that I felt was completely unrelated, seems to be the key to unlocking my confidence, taking me to the next level, and helping me see clearly, oh my gosh, this is what I need to do in United Art Space next. So isn't it interesting how I could have spent months and months going round and round in circles on what I need to do in United Art Space next. Can't focus on anything else right now because I have this problem here and this problem needs fixing. And I could have gone down a rabbit hole trying to just like, how do I fix this? What do I do next? But I didn't. I left it. I just sat. Things are weird here right now. Let's just step back for a minute and go and do some other things. Find joy in other things, get that vibrational energy moving again. And in that, now I'm coming back to this problem over here with clarity. Makes sense. Like, yes, this is it. This is the way I'm going to move forwards. So I think now where I'm at is I'm in this place of play. So I now have, going back to the in-person thing, I've set up a second business, going to do some in-person things locally. So I've got lots of different things going on, and I've got a new vision for United Art Space where we focus on creative living. We're focused very much on helping people find their voice, find their people, to grow confidence in themselves so they're able to really develop their work, understand their work, and get it out there. And that is all I want to focus on in United Art Space, is that, and making that as good as I can possibly make it. And that feels really exciting to me, because that is now giving me the content for what I need to show up with on my social media and where I need to be. So everything's starting to slot into place now in terms of having a vision, but I'm still in play mode. And this is something I wanted to quickly talk on. When we're lost and we don't know where we're going, so even though I'm starting to feel good now and I've got all these different things going on, I know that everything I'm playing with now is not sustainable. Like, for me to keep doing all of these different things is not something that I could carry on forever doing, because I'd burn out. So I'm seeing myself at the moment in a phase of play. And again, we talk about this cycle in Creative Way inside the Creative Living platform. We've got this cycle called the Creative Way, where we're developing our ideas and then we turn it into something. And in that phase, we go through explore. And when we're in explore, we're exploring our ideas. It could be your art. You're exploring all different ways to create a bird, in as many different ways as you can, because you're really exploring to create something original, something kind of unique to you. I'm in the explore phase at the minute in terms of what I'm creating in United Art Space and outside of that. And I'm playing and I'm dipping my toe in different things. I'm hosting a retreat. I'm doing an in-person thing. I'm doing the seminars. And then what will happen is I'll get to a point where I start to review all of these things. And maybe some things I'll need to let go of. Maybe some things I just have to keep very, very simple, just every now and again, with very minimal effort. And so at some point I will start to see where my main focus is going to be in all of this and how I manage the rest of it. So I'm in a phase of play, and that's what I'm seeing it as, play. I'm just playing and I'm exploring, I'm testing with no expectation. I'm not expecting this to sell. I'm not expecting to make money from this. I'm not expecting anything other than let's just do it and see what happens. Let's just do this and have a play with it. And that takes all the pressure off. And that's the phase I'm in. And I think on that, there is an element of trust. So when we're in that phase of play with no expectation, we've got artists going through the creative way right now, playing with their art with no expectation on whether it's going to sell or who it's going to be for. It's nothing about that. It's pure play for play's sake, to feel our way through what feels good, what in our work feels like it's working right now. Wow, this is exciting, and following that joy instead of getting bogged down with all the things that it should be for. Like, no, let that go. We're in that period right now. It's so exciting. And so an element that we need during that phase is trusting that everything that we're doing is going to take us somewhere, and that we're in this place for a reason right now. It's growth, it's expansion, it's exploration, and trusting that. Trust is a good word. So just to recap, so my process when you're confused and you don't know what step to take next is to first of all just kind of make that mind map, write that list of things that bring you joy, things that you're really good at, things that you absolutely love. Make that list. Maybe come up with some things that are tangible that you can start doing. Maybe some things are not so tangible. I want to be around people. Don't know what that means. And then start to connect that to people in a way. That's one of the big things for me in this process, has been talking to people, getting out there, sharing, having conversations with people. That's what's led to all the opportunities that have come my way. And then having that time to play with the ideas, play with something new, making space to play without expectation, and trusting that process. Thank you for being with me. Let me know what you do. If you have any steps where you just don't know what step to take next, let me know over on social media. We'll drop a comment below to a social media post where you can go and let us know. And have a great week. Okay, take care.